Welcome to the Steve Show. Today I want to talk about connecting with other human beings. And here we are on Earth, and there's a lot of human beings, so I think it's worth talking about. So why do I want to talk about connecting with other human beings? You might think, oh, I do that every day. And I'm questioning, do we really? I was just at Whole Foods about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, and I'm going up to the teller, and I asked these questions. Instead of asking people, how are you? I asked a lot of people, what was the best part of your day? Or what was the favorite thing you did today? And so I was at Whole Foods, and I'm going up to pay for my stuff. So I'm at the register, and I asked the woman behind the register, I say, what was the best part of your day? And she looked at me and said, you, looking me in the eye. And we got into a conversation about how, at first I was taken back. I was like, wow, that was, well, you know, obviously I'm like grateful that there I was making a connection with her because it was the best part of her day. So I was able to light her up a little bit. But the conversation that occurred after was that so many people come through, they get what they need at Whole Foods, and then they don't even look at her. They just look at her as a machine. And I must have been taking notice of this because the next week I was in Whole Foods, I was at the register and someone else was getting rung up before me. And the woman said, did you find everything that you need? And the guy totally didn't answer. He just went about putting his credit card in and all these things, or, you know, and now we're kind of distracted because we're putting in the card for the chip or whatever, right? So he's doing his thing. And she looks at me. It was a different woman, different register, different person. I think it was even a different Whole Foods. She looked over at me and said, I guess he did find everything he needed. But it was just, it totally hit the point that that's how many people are going through not connecting. And I've, over time, made it a point to start connecting with the planet. I remember when I was dating my wife before we got married, and she would always say, hey, you don't take time to smell the roses. Like, we've heard these things before. And I was that guy. I was so much on a mission to do what I wanted to do, to work in my business, that I didn't slow down enough to see what's going on. And now I can tell you, by taking that extra little bit of time, it doesn't take a whole lot. Just looking someone in the eye, just connecting with them for a minute, it's changed everything for me. I've gotten more deals. I've connected with people. Like, I can be in line anywhere, like, you know, at a restaurant talking to people. I'll just end up meeting people. Everything that you see around me, like right now, I'm north of San Francisco in West Marin, where we're going to be doing our mentorship programs on this property. I've always dreamed about bringing people outdoors and having time to spend a weekend with them and change their life. And we're going to be able to do that here. And all of that comes from connecting with other human beings. I'm convinced, and this is my belief, I'm convinced that I have what I have in my life because I focus on other people and help them. And I'm not the first person to say this. You know, Zig Ziglar always said, if you help enough people gain what they want in their life, you'll have all of what you want. And that's a very powerful saying. And then I was with John Assaraf. You may know him from The Secret, the movie and the book. And he and we did an event together called Win-Win Weekend, Win in your marketing, win in your mindset. He did the mindset, I did the marketing at that event. And with another good friend of mine, Tommy Voris, we were doing this event and we were having dinners, preparing for it. And I think one of the dinners we were at John's house in San Diego. And he said something at dinner to all of us. He said, you know, people get so caught up on making $1 million or whatever amount that they want to make. And if they actually flip that and they actually focus on helping give $1 million worth of service away, they would actually gain that and become a millionaire just by focusing differently. Instead of focusing on making money, focus on who are you going to help. And that's what business is all about, right? Tony Robbins also said, he said, if you're in business, you're in the human business. Because it doesn't matter if you have a product or a service, you're helping people with whatever you're helping them with. Whether they buy a tool like an iPhone, right? This is serving me because it allows me to do things. You know, there's so many different things. If you focus on what you're doing for other people, this is so important. And when I'm talking about the story at Whole Foods or different things, you know, I want to be really clear. This is not like allowing yourself to be distracted everywhere you go. You know, I was talking about that I was so focused on things that I would miss smelling the roses. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that we do need to be more aware of our fellow human, where they need help, where can we be available, and how can we help them, and in what ways, and when. And you can set those parameters. So when I'm working, I set myself up to work in a certain way. So I have my office set up so that I can have a private area where I can get my work done and be laser focused. So there's still times for that. Then there's times when we're out and about and we need to give ourselves the availability to connect with other human beings. And even when we're with other people, I want to tell you one other story. I was raising money for one of my companies, and I was at a lunch, and I was talking to these two investors, and the server kept interrupting, like asking some questions, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm in this meeting, and I was actually starting to get a little irritated about the whole thing. And the two guys left, they didn't invest, and I'm kind of packing my stuff up and paying for the lunch. And the server comes up and says, hey, can I take a look now? And I'm like, well, what does it matter now? I was kind of whatever. So I turn my laptop around and show the server what we were talking about. And then she looks at me and says, I'll invest. And I was like, what? I'm like struck back. She was actually the owner of the restaurant, and her server, one of the servers couldn't come in, and she actually is filling in the server position only because someone failed to come in that day. And she actually invested. And then I called the other two guys and said, hey, remember that server that was there? And of course they remembered her because she was kind of intrusive in our meal. And I said, well, she just invested. And they're like, what? And so both of those guys ended up investing. So it's changed how things looked. And it was because, you know, I'm being honest with myself here. I was a little irritated in the situation. However, because I wasn't so pissed off that I wrote her off or closed my laptop and said, whatever, I'm not going to show this to a server, because I just connected with her for that moment, showed her what we were doing. I ended up gaining 3 investors from that meal. From what I thought was my adversity became my advantage. And where in your world are you letting this happen? Where are you not connecting with other human beings and you're losing opportunities in your life? These are the things we have to pay attention to, and it's going to serve you well. If you want some things in your life, serve others. I can directly look at what I have in my life and the opportunity I have to be with my kids, to travel the world, to be on this land here in West Marin and be able to bring a space where I can train other people to have the business that they want while they have the life that they desire. All of that is possible by me waking up every day thinking, who am I going to help? What human being am I going to connect with today that I can make a difference in their life? And it might just be saying hello at Whole Foods, and looking someone in the eye could make the world of a difference in another human being's life. And I just want to end with, if there's other ideas or things, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how you're connecting with other human beings, or maybe where you're not, posting that. So get involved and on the social media here. Let us know. And if there's any other topics you'd like me to speak on or share my insight on, please let me know. I'd love to share more and help more. Thank you.